Hello there and welcome back to the channel. In this video I'm going to be showing you the camera angle adjuster product from ZWO. Una at ZWO has kindly lent me this prototype version, but I believe that physically it's almost identical to the production version. It's just that the driver that I've been given does not yet include support for ASI Air. So what is a camera angle adjuster or rotator really for? Well, there are two main uses for this type of device. The first is if you have an alt-az mount, you will suffer from field rotation during the night as the object traverses the sky, and this allows you to correct for that. And the other use, which is useful even if you have a German equatorial mount, which these days most mounts are, is that it allows you to very quickly and very accurately frame your target exactly as you'd planned. So for example, if you use Nina, then you will use the framing assistant to plan how you want the image orientated relative to the target. And then when you do a slew, center and rotate, you can not just center the target correctly, but also get that rotation exactly as you planned it to within a small fraction of a degree. So that's what rotators are useful for. So I'm firstly going to show you the product, see what it looks like physically, just have a look at its physical features, and then I'm going to fit it to one of my rigs and show you it actually in action so you can see it operating, and I'll show you the settings GUI and how I set it up and use it within Nina. So let's get started. So let's take a look at the unit and see what physical features it has. Firstly, it's built very robustly from aluminium and it's finished in the usual ZWO red anodized finish. It has a basic body here which remains stationary, provided this bulge that you see here is facing towards the stars. So that would be the stationary part. There's an M54 female interface here, and on the other side there's a removable ring with an M54 male interface on it. Now, I was sent with this prototype this alternative ring, which is an M48, and that allows you to swap over. If on your filter wheel or camera side your interface is M48, it saves you having an unnecessary adapter because you can just replace this plate, which is a nice feature. If we look at the electrical interfaces, we've got the USB 2 port here, and we've got a small jack port marked HBX, which I'm assuming is for a hand controller. I'm waiting to hear back from ZWO to confirm that. And on this side, on the prototype model, there is a small grub screw here for adjusting the internal belt tension, but I'm told that on production versions that grub screw won't be there. So really that's all there is to the physical rotator. Just two more things I want to show you. One is what is the contribution to your back focus. So I've got a digital vernier here, and if I measure from this face to the front face of the rotating section, you can see that it's about 16.7 millimeters of back focus contribution. The other thing that might interest you is the weight of the CAA and how much it's going to contribute to your total payload weight. So I've got some scales here. I'm just going to pop this on the scales and you'll see that it weighs 485 grams. So 0.485 of a kilogram. So I'm going to take this now and fit it to a rig and show you it in operation. Okay, so this is the rig I'm going to fit it to, which is a Redcat 51, and I have a ZWO ASI 2600 camera connected to an EFW7 2-inch filter wheel, and this has an M54 female interface on the telescope side. So if I get hold of the CAA, I'm going to firstly mate the CAA to the filter wheel housing. So obviously need to be a little careful with the alignment here, and then just rotate this. It's a lovely squeaking sound, and just nip that up so that it's tight. Don't want to push rotate too hard there, as it will back drive the CAA, which would not be a good thing. Okay, so the CAA is now connected to the filter housing, so I can now offer it up to the telescope. I'm unlocking the manual rotator ring here on the telescope, so this I can turn, and I'm going to use that to actually do up the thread here, so I don't have to turn this whole assembly here. So I can offer that up to the telescope and start rotating the thread like so. Just keep going until that's tight. There we go, that's nice and tight now. And now I can lock the manual rotating ring of the telescope, and I'm just turning it there so that this bulge at the top of the CAA is at the top, which is convenient from the point of view of not crashing into the tripod and also getting the cables connected. So I'm going to fit a cable, excuse me just a moment. I'm just going to grab the cable here, a USB cable going into my little USB hub down here, and I can plug that neatly into the side of the CAA, and we're basically done. So what I need to do now is get the control computer at the front here turned on and connect up to the CAA, and let's operate it. Okay, so I've booted up the PC, and as you can see I'm in the equipment tab on camera, so I'm going to switch to Rotator. I've already installed the ASCOM driver that ZWO provided. So in the drop down list here you see we've got ZWO CAA. So I can select that and then click on the settings tab, and that brings up this settings dialog, and I can hit connect on here, and I'm now connected to the rotator. So basically you've got at the top you've got a display of its current reported angular position, which is showing 49.9 degrees. You've got a button for setting the zero position, and then here where it says target angle, this is a relative move. So I can put in, for example, 10 degrees and press move. It will move 10 degrees in one direction. I've got reverse ticked at the moment. If I untick reverse and press move, it'll move in the opposite direction. So that's a relative move. There's also a stop button in case you're panicking something's about to hit something else and you want to stop it immediately. There's a stop button, and there's a beep tick box so you can make it beep at you if you really want it to. Now the next row is effectively an absolute move. So instead of moving by a certain amount, we're moving to a certain position. So at the moment we're at 50. For example, I tell it I want to go to 60. I put 60 in here and click move to, and it will move 10 degrees to a position of 60. Now what I actually want to do is to set this up so that I have 180 degrees of motion. I want this position on the filter wheel where the USB connector connects to sit at the top here when I'm in position of 90 degrees, and I want to be able to move 90 degrees this side down to a position of 0, and I also want to be able to move 90 degrees the other way to a position of 180. So I just want 180 degrees of total travel plus or minus 90 from a position here. Now notice that I've fitted the USB cable and the power cable for the camera, because it's very important that you confirm that they don't twist around each other or get snagged on anything when the rotator is moving. So the first thing I'm going to do is move to a position of 0. So I'll put in 0 and do a move to, which is a move to an absolute position. So I'm moving to position 0. Now this is where it stopped, and it hasn't actually come round far enough. I want the connector to be about here. I want this side here to be parallel with the side of the rotator. So I'm going to move it further using a relative move. So for example, if I do a target angle of 10 degrees and I move by 10 degrees, okay, that's gone the wrong direction, so I'll just hit reverse, tick the reverse box and move again. And now one more time. Oh, if you click too soon, by the way, you get CAA blocked. So you have to be a little bit patient. So we'll do another move. Let that finish, and one more maybe. Okay, and that looks really good now. So I've now got this side here, pretty much parallel to that side. I'm happy with this being my 0 position. So I'm going to click on set 0 position. You see at the moment it's showing a position of 340. When I click set 0 position, that simply changes to 0. And now I can just test what I've got. So I can do absolute moves. I'm going to do an absolute move to 90. Click move to. And it should move to a position where that USB connector on the filter wheel is uppermost. And it does. That's great. And I can also move it to the other extreme, which is 180, and do a move to there. A little harder to see from where the camera's looking, but hopefully that will stop in just the right spot about now. Okay, that looks great. So, and then I'll just bring it back to 90. So I've now set my 0 position. So I'm done in the settings. There is a max step that you can change as well, but I don't see a need to be changing that just at the moment, so I'll leave that alone. So I'll just wait for it to stop. And I'm in a position of 90, and I can hit disconnect and close the settings dialog. And now that that's closed, I can connect in Nina to the rotator. And you'll see that here, apart from displaying the driver information and whether it's moving, it's got a reverse switch just like in the settings dialog, but it has this feature of the mechanical range, which you can set to full, which I think would be dangerous because things could hit one another and get twisted. But I like this 180 degree option. There's a 90 degree option as well. I want 180 degrees of mechanical range, and I want it to start from 0 because we've just set up that we want it to move anywhere between 0 and 180. So that's ideal. And I can just do a test move from within Nina. For example, if I type in 45 and click move mechanical position, it should move to 45. Yep, that looks right. If I move to position 0, it should move round to my 0 position, which it does. Now, if I were to put in 180 here, it may well not move at all because it considers 180 and 0 to be effectively both as good as each other, which is true because obviously the image could be just rotated 180 degrees and you'd end up with the same image. So if I put in 180, it may not move at all. Indeed, it does not move at all. Okay, that's fine. If I put in 179, it will move almost all the way to the other side. It will stop 1 degree short of the position I set as 180. So this is the behavior that I want, and this means that we're all set up now, and when we do a slew center and rotate to a target, it can now have the freedom to move and rotate the camera to the desired angle in a very precise fashion. So that's great, we're all set up. I'm just going to return it back to the central position of 90. And then I will disconnect. You notice how smooth and quiet the motion is, really quite impressive. And we're back in central position and I can disconnect. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions or comments, please do drop them in, and it's really good to get your feedback, and hopefully I can answer any questions that you have. If you've enjoyed the video, please do click the like symbol. If you're not subscribed already, please do subscribe and click that bell symbol to make sure you get notifications when I release new videos. Until next time, clear skies.